Welcome back. SLTU President Dawn Howell is not impressed with recent statements by Education Minister Dr. Gail Rigobert surrounding the proper sanitization of schools. According to Howell, no formal communication has been sent to the union with regard to the so-called adjustments.
Prior to the reopening of schools on January 11th, officials from the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education made pronouncements of a number of school-specific protocols which were to be adopted in order to facilitate the health and safety of students while on compound. With so much time lost at school in 2020, the schools have had to increase the teaching time allotted to students, and that meant removing the day which was allotted for deep sanitization. Education Minister Dr. Gail Rigobert expressed that to say that there would be no more deep sanitization was inaccurate.
I would prefer for us to say not that the sanitation day was removed, but rather we have embellished, improved, emphasized our cleaning program throughout the week. In fact, additionally, for consideration by the Ministry of Finance, is that a provision be made for extending the hours of janitors, caretakers, so as to accommodate that additional cleaning. And we will see that roll out in the new fiscal year. But
on the hot seat on Wednesday evening, President of the SLTU, Dawn Howell, revealed that the union had received no clear plan for proper sanitization in schools. He says that while word on the ground was that there was a new initiative to increase working hours of janitors, the SLTU is unaware that this has actually transpired.
The current staff of the current auxiliary staff that currently exists at schools, you would have heard prior to a pandemic numerous complaints from principals regarding the number that they have. They need more. Could they get, because the amount of work that those persons had to complete, it was humanly impossible for them to do. And so there were complaints about the upkeep of the school. Granted, you have a pandemic. More is now required of those same workers. So a time for deep sanitization would have given them that opportunity to do things that they are unable to do on a daily basis while the students were in school.
Howell says that the time which was allotted for deep sanitization back in September would have brought a level of assurance and comfort to students, teachers, and parents.
That look, the school is being deep sanitized. There's a special time allocated for deep sanitization. And notice I say time allocated for it. We hear of offices being closed to the public for deep sanitization. Doesn't the school deserve some measure of equity in that regard?
Dr. Rigobert maintains that the emphasis should be on ensuring that the cleaning happens throughout the week and not just on one specific day. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
The St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association has called for renewed hope in 2021 as the country continues to grapple with health crises as well as economic ones. President of the SLMDA, Dr. Merle Clark, says the new year brings with it an opportunity to learn from past mistakes and forge ahead better prepared.
2020 was arguably one of the worst years on record that any of us has lived through. But this is a new year. A new year is always a time to reflect on what has happened and also to reflect on the way forward. Let's encourage everyone, each and every one of us, every citizen of St. Lucia, to make 2021 a better year. 2020 did not give us much of a choice in terms of all of what happened with COVID-19 and the dengue outbreak and so many other issues, prevailing issues that we had to deal with. But in 2021, let's have renewed hope. Let us continue, of course, to adhere to the practices that we know can keep us safe as it pertains to COVID-19 because it's still around.
There is hope of a vaccine in 2021 as more industrialized countries like the UK and US have already started to roll out their vaccines. The SLMDA president hopes that in the first quarter of 2021, a vaccine will be available locally. She encouraged St. Lucians to get information from credible sources in relation to the vaccine.
The anti-vaccine sentiment is exceedingly strong, and we understand that. We are urging you, those of influence, the young, the comedians in particular, you are very talented. Let's not use this talent to discourage others from taking the vaccine. It is really not funny when we make those short videos that seem to indicate that there are many side effects from vaccines. Of course, no vaccine, no drug is 100% safe, but we urge solutions to get the information from the correct sources. Vaccines save lives. Vaccines are going to help us get back to some semblance of normalcy.
That was the president of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, Dr. Merle Clark. Now, Dr. Merle Clark is also speaking out about crime. She has called on citizens to refrain from acts of violence. She says it's not only bad for the country, but that it puts a strain on the healthcare system. She also calls on policymakers to do better in 2020.
Policymakers, let us ensure that there are programs in place for our young people, that they are not driven, in essence, to commit violent acts. We all have to eat, and they also have to eat. So let's ensure that those programs are in place, that you were elected and you're put in certain positions to ensure that our people are taken care of. Let us keep to our promises and ensure that we do those things. We can do this, St. Lucia. Let us love each other. In all that we do, let us think of others, and we will get through 2021, and it will be a prosperous year.
That was SLMDA President Dr. Merle Clark. Stay with us when we return the latest weather report.